Hi everyone, welcome to topic 3 of fixed income analysis, municipals and mortgage-backed securities, in short, MBS. We will have 3 segments in this topic which will be covered in 3 different videos. Firstly, municipal securities, secondly, MBS which is mortgage-backed securities, and thirdly, the MBS market and its application. Let us now start with municipal securities. Municipal securities are called munis in short. They are debt securities issued by the state and the local government in the US. These are usually issued to fund for public projects. To give you a comparable analogy, you can imagine munis as bonds that are issued by town councils in Singapore. In US, they have states and local government. In Singapore, we have GRCs and SMCs taking care of different regions in Singapore. And each of them need to have available funds to carry out their improvement works within their constituencies. Other than government grants from government budget, they can actually issue munis to raise funds as well. There are about US 2.8 trillion worth of munis in the US, a huge market. There are 3 types of munis. First, we have GOs, General Obligation Bonds. These are munis which is secured by the credit of the issuer, in this case, the local government. And the income of these munis will come from tax revenue that the local government has collected. Second, we have revenue bonds. These are munis that are secured by revenues that derive from the specific projects or assets in which the fund raised from the munis are used on. For example, airport revenue bonds, toll roads revenue bonds, water revenue bonds, and college and university revenue bonds, etc. So which one has a higher default risk, i.e., which one has more credit risk and will more likely to fail on its payments? The answer is revenue bonds, and that is also why it generates a higher return. Remember, we did cover in previous topics that the more risky a bond is, the higher return it generates. Note that when such munis default, it will simply be the case that they are unable to pay the interest and prepayment, and there is no legal obligation on the issuer. And they are only backed by the full faith and the credit on the issuer. Third, we have hybrid munis. These munis are backed by a third party, either by a bank, the public, or some private corporation, usually having interest in the funding from the munis. By this, we mean that the third party will be directly or indirectly benefiting from the funding. For example, large contractors hired to run the public projects. This guaranteed feature will bring about lower yields, since the credit risk or default risk of the munis would have decreased from the guarantee. So what is so attractive about munis that investors would come on board? Interest income from munis are tax exempted. Because it's related to a public organization, the taxing power provides a reliable source of revenue. It is relatively a safe investment. There are also varieties of munis available to cater for investors' taste. Geographical location, some might even be staying within that state, or the tenor of the bond to cater for investors' investment horizon, and many others. Despite its low risk, there are still past cases of munis defaults. Example, Orange County in California declaring bankrupt in the 90s. WPPSS, a much bigger scale compared to our PUB, defaulted in the 80s. You can actually Google them to find out what really happened to these organizations. There's also something called municipal bond insurance that insure against munis default. If munis defaults, these insurance companies will compensate for the loss of income from these munis. There are some private insurance companies that provide such insurance, for example, Municipal Bond Investors Assurance, American Municipal Bond Assurance Corporation, Financial Security Assurance, Financial Guarantee Insurance Company. Issuer also buys insurance for the benefit of the investors. Bond issue must initially carry out an S&P rating of BBB or better. So that's the end of the first segment on munis. In our next video, we will carry on the topic to talk about what exactly is an MBS, mortgage-backed securities. Be sure to watch it. See ya.